Childcare is a crisis in the United States. The costs are high, the wait lists are long, and half of Americans are living in childcare deserts. One thing that's not helping the industry is the influx of private equity in childcare. 8 out of the 11 largest childcare providers in the United States are either owned or backed by private equity or venture capital. And these chains tend to target more affluent areas, leading to more of those childcare deserts. How did we end up in a situation where private equity is so entrenched in childcare? And is there anything that we can do to get out of it? So the reason that we're even at the place that we are at with private equity in childcare is that there are a lot of independently owned childcare providers. And when those providers want to retire and sell their business, there just aren't a lot of options for buyers other than private equity, making it one of the few viable options. The issue is that these private equity firms typically only want to buy child care centers that are licensed for high amounts of children or are in more affluent areas. Meaning that a lot of these people who are looking to sell either can't find a buyer or they can't find a buyer other than private equity. And that's how we end up with sort of this concentrated ownership in childcare. And even if there is interest from a local buyer, they can rarely compete with a PE giant. Is there anything we can do, and how do we go about it? The Roosevelt Institute recently published this brief that offers several ways that we can move away from that corporate involvement in childcare. One idea is that states can create an online marketplace. This would allow childcare providers to list if they were interested in selling. This could increase awareness for potential buyers. One of the things that private equity has working for them is that they can do a lot of research behind the scenes and then swoop in and pick up a childcare practice. But this would allow for a bit more transparency. Create more pathways for co-op or worker-owned childcare centers. In New Zealand, 10% of childcare centers are co-ops. That way, the people who already know the needs of their unique communities would be leading these incredibly important centers. And another idea is to have the government purchase these childcare centers directly. Government funding is already a key part of these childcare centers, something that the private equity firms benefit from when they take over. And there are a bunch of different ways that these centers could be run by the government. They could also be leased out to trusted childcare providers. And the best part of these models is there's action you can take right now. The state level is where we see some of the biggest changes happening with this. Talk to your local officials. If you're a family who has a child in daycare, ask the provider, have you thought about an ownership transition plan? Have you thought about a co-op? And lastly, just being aware of this. I am going to link the full brief from the Roosevelt Institute in my bio, so you can check out the current state and look at some of these different solutions. Awareness is key in creating change, so don't forget to tell a friend about private equity.